Look, black and blue lives. Yeah. That's a new vibe. Black and blue lives. That's a new vibe.
How do you agree so like when you see those cocktails like this?
Yeah. What is going on, everybody? What is up? It is Wednesday. It is 8 o'clock, so you already know. It's the Black and Blue Live Show. I am Prince Blue. Always with me is my road dog. I guess you'll be Riggs. I'll be Murtaugh since I'm naturally black and you're naturally white. So you'll be Riggs. I'll be Murtaugh.
You don't have a lot of options.
Yep. Well, you know, this is the Black and Blue Live Show. You know what we do. We just gonna take you behind the badge, beyond the badge. We're gonna talk real talk. We're gonna talk mental health. We're gonna talk community. We're gonna talk police. We're gonna talk a whole bunch of stuff. Thank everybody for joining us. I hope everybody's doing well because we got the bad storm. What is it? Ida? I lose track, man. What's the name now?
I don't know. I was in the thick of it down in Florida, man.
That's right, in Naples, Florida. Nipples, Florida.
Almost didn't make it back. I was wading through water. It skipped. I think it hit the panhandle a little bit, but not where I was at. I was in Southwest Florida.
Yeah, you was in the ritzy part where they got like automatic umbrellas and stuff.
Yeah, man. I just threw a tent on the beach. When I say tent, it was more like a tarp and just lawn chaired it. A lot cheaper.
That's all. Listen, hey, you got to do what you got to do, man. You got to survive out there in those $800 a day hotel rooms. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely, yeah.
But normally we would, get into a whole bunch of stuff and we'll have like a super topic and we'll like beat it down like it owe us money till it's time for us to get up out of here. But today I thought we just talk about some things and then have some people throw out questions because I noticed that it's a lot of stuff out there that people still think is true for some reason. Like they be like, do cops have quotas? Are all white people Are all white cops racist? Do y'all write tickets because y'all will get in trouble if you don't? Like all types of weird stuff that I figured, hey, since clearly we're two retired police officers and we can give you some assistance in answering some of those questions. And we're going to give you our truth, our opinion, our thoughts, what we would do. We can't talk for anybody else. We would tell you what we would do. And then you either take it, leave it, or ask more questions. So I'm going to start with the first question that I think it's been since the beginning of time. Like when it's like the end of the month and you're about to write a ticket and somebody says, oh yeah, you got to make your quota before the first of the month. Do police have a quota?
Absolutely not. It's actually illegal to require, like for agencies to require quotas.
Where do you think that comes from?
I don't know, man. I just think I don't know. Back in the day, they used to have so many tickets. I know, some supervisors, way back in the day would be like, all right, everybody go write 5 tickets tonight or something. I don't know. But I don't know. No agency could legally now have quotas. And it's probably been that way for 25 plus years at least. Same thing about, you hear people. I love to see the stories about red cars are more likely to get stopped. I don't know where that comes from. That's random. It's like red cars never got my attention more than any other color of cars. I don't know if there's just more red cars out there or what, but there, like you said, there's a host of misinformation, I guess you could say, out there about what the reality of what police work is like.
Right. And it's just so weird because I want people to know like 90% of cops, they don't want to write tickets. They don't want to do all that ancillary bullshit. They want to get into the meat and potatoes. They want to do Billy Badass, super cowboy stuff. It's nothing fancy about coming home and telling a story like, yeah, I wrote this guy a speeding ticket. He was doing about 5 over. I feel good. Like that doesn't pop. That doesn't do anything for anybody. But what it does do, I would tell you, we've all been there where, let's say you have an accident at an intersection and you look at the details of that intersection. Oh man, it's been like 5 accidents here this week. A lot of stuff going on. So what would you do? You'll be proactive. You'll start stopping some cars that's speeding through there to let them know, hey, this ain't Fast and the Furious. Something like that, but that's not a quota. That's not somebody telling you, hey, go out there and I want you to cite 10 black people, 10 Indians, 1 white, and 1 Latino, and don't come back till you're done. That's a quota.
Yeah. And I can tell you, excuse me, I probably have COVID. I can tell you though that working primarily the black neighborhoods that you and I work together, like Belmont being assigned to that district, or the whole district we worked was either it was Hispanic on one side, Asian in the middle, and mostly black in the one. And I got excited when I stopped a white person because I was like, oh hell yeah. You know,
you got coke on you. You here for hookers?
Well,
like, let's go.
You're getting a ticket because just statistically the way it works. If you write tickets, but people don't understand. Like most cops, like you said, they don't want to write tickets. I was looking for the units, or even on patrol, guns, drugs, or warrants. Right. So we had the 1 in 5 rule in Belmont. Now it's probably 1 in 30. It's a nice place in that community now, but 1 in 5 cars we stopped would either have one of the 3, guaranteed. So if somebody's to have a warrant, there's gonna be dope, or there's gonna be a gun in the car, and that's what we're looking for. We might stop you, and a lot of people have get pissed off, but some of the best stops we made, too, is tail lights, tag lights, no turn signal, seatbelts, which is bullshit. Well, I don't say bullshit stops is illegal, but our intention was to look for that. But we stopped you and everything checked out. We'll cut you loose. We're not gonna give you a ticket for that. But if we stop you for something and you're like, yo, fuck 12, fuck you, harassing me, whatever, I'm like, all right, we'll just give you a ticket. If you're not going to say, yeah, not a problem, I'll fix it, and then, well, appreciate it, have a nice day. What about you? Would you, like, and there's that bullshit mentality that's like, you need to know, they tell you in the cab, you need to know when you stop that car that if you're going to give them a ticket or not. That's bullshit, because there's 10,000 different scenarios. Like, I'm giving this car a ticket, they're going 10 miles over, and you get up there and like, hey, my wife's delivering a baby. So yeah, or
I've pulled them over where a woman is pregnant.
Oh yeah. So I mean, it happens. So and I've stopped people going really, really fast, and hey, what's going on? If you get stopped by a traffic cop, you're pretty much screwed. But
yeah, they're like troopers with with higher salary.
Just be cool, man. Just hey, what's up? Why are you speeding? Why are you doing this? You need a tag fix. And being cooperative always helps. Get a fucking attitude. Get an attitude you might talk yourself into getting a ticket, and then you have to go to court. You have to pay a fine. Even if it gets dismissed, it's a pain in the butt. So I always encourage people, just be cooperative, man. I got stopped only one time. This time I went to Florida. I was speeding in a school zone. Who knew? Who knew there's school zone? I thought everybody was out for COVID, but it was in Florida. So, and then last time I went to Florida, the time before last one, I got stopped twice. So I've been stopped 3 times in 2 months.
You need traffic school.
Absolutely.
I mean, just because you bald don't make you Vin Diesel. Like, you need to slow stuff down.
It always, you would hear people, this is I'm 29. I've been stopped 4 times by the police. I was like, well, shit, dude, by the time I was 29, I'm white, look like a cop, any cop. I had 25 plus stops on. People were like, why'd you want to be a cop to serve the community? I was like, no, man, I got tired of getting tickets.
Growing up, not growing up, but I just want everybody to know, guess what? Newsflash to all police officers out there that's trying to act high on the hall. You speed.
Absolutely.
You speed in your patrol car and your regular car. So that's why I don't know why when y'all walk up to people, unless you're a traffic cop and your main thing is to enforce traffic laws, I don't know why you're walking up to people and bothering them about going 5 to 10 over. Like, come on. Like, stop it. It's not that serious. It's really not. Because there could be somebody's late. Have you ever been late to work? Hell yeah. Have you ever been late to an appointment? Hell yeah. Have you just been so frustrated and zoned out you're not paying attention to your speed? Hell yeah. So why are you going up to people and I'm gonna give them a ticket because they speeding? Okay. Did you put on your blue lights and sirens to catch up to them? I'm just asking. I'm asking. Because these are the things that well, not us, because we're retired, but police officers have to ask themselves when they're about to fuck up somebody's day.
And that's what cops need to know, right? So there's times to be lenient. If a lot of people going in like, oh, it's white and black. You commit a crime. You're going 5 miles over speed, we're going to give you a ticket. A lot of officers have 12, 15-mile rule that they have, and traffic enforcement is important, right? Because we want a lot of people die every year, especially in big city like Charlotte. But just have some, if they run, go through red light a little late, or find out what's going on. What kind of day they're having. Hey, what's up? Why are you going? Why are you going so fast? What's going on? And every once in a while, give somebody a break, man. Some people deserve it. They just think it's a pain in the ass. My tag, years ago, I was trying to get. I bought a tag from an individual, and it's hard if you don't get it from the dealership to get it registered and all this other stuff. It's a pain in the ass. And just keep that in mind, man. Just have some empathy or compassion for some people. I always try to do that as a cop. Some people they deserve tickets and they're going to get it. But that was kind of my rule of thumb is just because of my tag is expired for a couple months. If I don't stop them, doesn't mean they're going to get a ticket. Most people wouldn't actually. What would you say? Where's your ratio to stop? I probably gave. I stopped a lot of cars, but I didn't give a lot of tickets.
I stopped a lot of cars, didn't give tickets.
I probably gave like 10% if tickets, and that's because it ended up getting some dope or something and give them a ticket for it. I mean, but some are like, hey, if I turn my blue lights on, they're getting a ticket. Some cops don't stop cars at all. Like as a supervisor,
Yeah.
I'd have to evaluate each officer, how many traffic stops they had, citizen contacts, calls for all this other stuff. But some didn't have any at all, but I was okay with that because there's one guy, a really good officer, but he had 0 traffic stops, but he took more reports than anybody else in the city. So I'm like, well, as long as you're doing something. Like, some people, all cops don't like traffic. Some like investigation. Some like drugs. Some like going to serve warrants. I mean, all this other stuff. So you got inside the police department, you have a whole community of different styles of policing and what they like to do.
Absolutely. So let's go off of tickets and let's go into, this is always a good one, especially when we watch traffic stop videos or we stop any type of stop. First thing you hear about comments on that officer approach is why his hand is always on his gun. Why when the cop talk to me, why is his hand on his gun? Explain why that is and why some of those scenarios come up, Steph.
Yeah.
Hold on, Steph. I'm sorry. The reason why I'm asking you because a lot of times the videos that get a lot of traction is the white officer approaching the minority. Something ensues, and then that's one of the things that people point at is he had his hand on his gun. He was already ready. So explain that.
Well, I go through a quick traffic stop. You stop a car, you don't know who's in the vehicle, right? A lot of times you don't have time. Ideally, you have time to run the tag and check warrants and everything prior to the stop, but sometimes you just don't have the opportunity. So you don't know who's in the car. Even if you run the tag, the registered owner, see if he's got warrants or history, if you have time to do that, you don't know if they're driving. So when you stop a car, a lot of officers domestics and traffic stops, the most dangerous things we could do as police officers. But you stop a car, you get out, you walk in the car, and I'll always stay towards the back. A lot of times touch the side of the car, your left hand would be close to the gun, just to show you reaction time, right? It's secured in a holster. We had triple threat holsters, right? So which means you have to do 2 to 3. Well, I don't know if double or triple, but yeah, you'd have to do 2 to 3 different movements to get the gun out. And if you're not used to doing it, it's that way for a reason. So if you're in a fight, it's hard for somebody to just pull your gun out. So if you have to actions fast and reactions. So if we walk up to the car, it's happened before somebody pulls out a gun or pulling a gun. If I'm going from my arms crossed or whatever I'd be doing is walking, is that reaction time. So what we're looking, this is just less reaction time. Once you get up to the car and you see, you feel safe to put the hands on the steering wheel, you kind of relax a little bit. But that, I think, a lot of times that's why their hands on their gun, just so they can react. The gun's not going to go off in the holster with the hand on the gun. There's no profiling going on. It doesn't matter if it's white, black, Hispanic, Asian. Sometimes you don't know who's in the car, if it's because of window tint or the time of day or time of night. But it's just that habit you get into. Hello from New Jersey. Yes.
What's up, Jay? Tornado Country, my man Jay Bink 25. Appreciate you for joining us, man. Jay, if you got any questions, please feel free to shoot them out there. And tell everybody to join, man. We love when people interact. Like, don't just be in the room. Like, throw a question out there. Don't think no question is a stupid question. Throw them out there. You got 2 police officers here that's willing to answer any question that you have. It may be a personal question. If you feel free talking about your case or whatever, feel free. But yeah, and that's the thing, because I remember sometimes, and honestly, my back was terrible, and I'm wearing a vest, and sometimes that's just an extra like pressure relieved when I'm just leaning on my holster. I'm not even on my gun. I'm on my holster because it's digging into your hip. I promise you, if you ever get a chance, put on a belt with about 25-pound dumbbells on each side. That's what it feels like. That's what you're walking around with, digging into your hip. And like my man Step said, even not just from a physical standpoint, let's talk from, like he said, a reactionary standpoint. White, black, Hispanic, Asian, Bigfoot, Sasquatch, Loch Ness Monster. We want to be ready. We want to be ready. I done seen people if you think people out here don't know training and don't know what police officers are being taught, you're sadly mistaken. They know how they can talk you, lull you to sleep, get you comfortable to where you're like, we're taught never to fold your arms. Always keep your hands close. Steeple fingers, interview fingers.
With your hands so you could react. You could go to your gun.
Right.
You could push. You could grab.
Right. How are you talking to somebody with how many cops we done seen with their hands folded and they get clocked? Mm-hmm. Because you're not ready. Unless you're like this super action-packed MMA guy, I'm not judging. That's what we always said. Your training, your experience. Listen, your abilities. If you're Billy Badass, you could do that. Do that. But me, I'm gonna make sure I'm not Billy the Kid. I'm not a quick draw, so I'm gonna make sure I'm ready. Now, there's a difference between hand on holster and gun out the holster, pointed down. There's a totally different element to that. But I thought that was a good question to ask, because a lot of people always just assume that means that cop is ready to shoot or being aggressive. No, that's training, that's experience, that's pain, that's all of that goes into that.
And you brought up the other point is a lot of times you stand around on call or whatever, and that's what you're doing. Your hands on the gun for support, right? Like you said, 35, 40 pounds of gear between the belt that's digging into you and the vest and whatever else you have on the boots. And you you're just resting. You're like, a lot of times you kind of pull up on the gun to get it over, or just rest your hands on the gun.
Absolutely. We got a question. Angela, thank you for joining us. Angela Alvarez. She has a question here. Let's see. No, it's okay. It's a long question. It's all right. I like to read. Helps me out, especially with my announcement I have for everybody at the end of the show. I hope you guys tune in. I have a very special announcement and I'm very excited. Great conversation to jump on tonight. So I got pulled over a few months back, and being a retired medic and daughter of an LEO, I thought nothing of it. Unfortunately, I quickly realized that my teenager was suddenly having a panic attack. So I tried to explain why the two officers approached the way they did and why I had my stuff ready and hands on the wheel. So guys, how do we help the teenagers get past what the media hype is constantly telling them? I'll start first. First of all, great question. And you handled that perfectly by getting your teenager straight before the officers approached and calming them down. That was excellent instincts by you, and you being a part of the family and knowing what it entails. Honestly, Angela, um they're gonna the it's so much stuff out there with the media, and people are going to draw their own conclusions. Only thing I can say is keep doing what you're doing, advising your teenagers what to do when they're approached by police officers, how to react, and let them know it's okay to be nervous. It's okay to, I don't want to say be afraid, but to be leery, because there is things that's happening out there. But also let them know to be as in control as possible, and just keep explaining to them that the police are not the enemy. uh for 99% of police are trying to do the right thing. And just let him know that if he has any questions or anything, that he could come to you. And that's the best advice I can give, because with so much saturation of the bad police out there, it's hard to tell people. I don't tell people anymore it's not all cops, because the way it's sent out, it seemed like it's happening every day, every 5 minutes, something bad that a cop is involved in. So instead, I just tell people trust their own experiences with police. Have you had bad experiences? Then that will dictate how you interact with police, fair or unfair.
Yeah, no, I agree. I've had bad experiences with police. Uh, they too. I'm surprised like in drivers ed, and they may now, but a long time ago when I went, they don't tell you how to interact with police. They tell you to pull to the right, but have that conversation prior. So, uh, I think the only thing positive that comes from these videos where you see officers maybe getting scrutinized or doing wrong is that it makes you have that conversation. And I have a 17-year-old son. I've definitely had that conversation with him. What to do when you get stopped? If you don't think you did what he said, don't argue with him. Put your hand on the steering wheel. If you need to reach in the glove compartment, tell him. And that initial contact the officer makes with the vehicle is the most. When he approached the vehicle, his threat level to him is the highest before he makes contact. So once he gets up to the car, it's hey, your hands on the steering wheel. See, there's a teenage boy in there. He's going to bring it down a little bit. So he might come up a little more. I won't say aggressive, but just more, cautious. Looking in the window or whatever. But once he sees the total picture and everybody's being cooperative, his threat, he's probably going to bring it down a little bit. And yeah, and if he's stressed out or whatever, and he's having a panic attack or stressed out, let's just make it tell the cop, hey, I'm sorry, he's upset or what XYZ. And tell him, his you tell him, and you're an instant. His grandfather was a cop, right? So these people just like the grandfather. Hopefully, he's got a good relationship with him, and the grandfather's a good dude. But like I say, it's just like he's doing a job. We have a job to do. That's it.
Excellent question, Angela. Thank you. Wendy Turner Griffin says, "Is there a purpose of touching the vehicle to prove that the officer and the vehicle occupants had interaction?" Yes, that is correct. We've been taught that since the academy. Touch the car, put some type of DNA fingerprint on a car, so if something ever happens, it shows that we had interaction with that vehicle.
Yeah, and I should explain that. Yeah, just think, if we stop a gray Honda Accord, and I get shot or something happens and that car takes off. Well, there's in city like Charlotte, probably 30,000 gray Honda Accords. Well, they find a vehicle, they do DNA or a fingerprint, and that the fingerprints, you're almost, a lot of people like, you're almost solving your own, hopefully not homicide, but assault, or it could be on, on you, because
whatever it is.
you got that vehicle to you. And that's what that's used for.
That's the question. And I think you know this person. We got a question from Ann Step. She says, do officers get to pick what divisions they work in? How does that work? Not necessarily pick. When I got out of the academy, I don't know how it goes now, but when I got out of the academy, you get a wish list, a paper, and you write 3 divisions on there that you want. 1, 2, 3 in order of importance to you. Mine was Eastway, North Tryon, Central, and I think it was University. Those are my 3 choices. I wanted Eastway so bad. I wanted it so bad, and I remember when Captain D came through, and I just remember she was looking. She was like, "I think I'm going to regret this. I don't know why I'm looking at you so bad, but I think I'm going to regret this decision." But I wound up going to Eastway Division. I spent my whole career in Eastway and North Tryon Division. And the one thing about it is those are the most, I don't want to say crime rate, but those are your action spots. Like if you want to jump to a specialized unit, those are what we call working districts. And I remember it was a time where it was hard to get the working districts because everybody wanted to go there, get their leg up, get into some action. So those were my 3 choices. And sometimes you don't get your first choice. It all begins with the needs of the department, but they try to give recruits coming out of the academy their first and second choices on those lists. I don't know how it was for you, Step, because you was a lateral. What was the deal with yours?
Yeah, so same way. We got a wish list, and I think I put in Eastway. I put the 3 districts close to my house: Eastway, Independence, and Providence. I got Providence. Who knew? First to start off, but we actually had a lot of discussion with the prior chief, and he was supposed to, and he was trying to implement it to make it easier, because a lot of people end up in districts they didn't want. Here in Charlotte, each department's different. Some places only have one area you work, right? So in Charlotte we have 13 divisions, patrol divisions, and you do a wish list. They had an incentive for laterals for a while where you get to pick a district you work, and they try to accommodate you. But it's hard to move. Some people do 30 years in the same district. Some do, I was in Providence, Eastway, and Steel Creek. So some people every couple of years they get a change, or they get specialized divisions or units. But the goal was to make it easier to change. So if you live in Cornelius and you're working in South Division, that's a pretty good drive. So make it a little easier for officers to change divisions, but it's not easy. It might not happen. You want to go to a different district, and you might just be screwed.
Yeah. And Step, talk about like when you're picking your district, like people would think like some officers weirdly they'd be like, oh, I want to go like South Division with the golf courses and stuff like that. Listen, you be careful what you wish for. Like you don't get that, off the bat. It's certain divisions you're just not going to get fresh out. They're just not going to do it.
Like a city like us, the way they do shift assignments is by seniority. So most of the time, even if you're new recruit, you're going to get second or third depending on the needs of the district. But if you go to like a South Division, which is in Charlotte, was like a laid back, ritzy type, not a lot of violent crime or anything, you might go 15, 20 years before you go on first shift, if that's your goal. Like I mentioned earlier, if you're in a district like that and you want to be a homicide detective or robbery detective,
good luck.
Yeah, because you just don't have and you may be squared away. You may be the best officer in that district, but someone from a working district that's maybe not as half as good as you are is going to get that position just because they're street cred, right? So somebody in the East Way, North Tryon, or yeah, that's good. You want to live in South. I mean, that's a good area to live. But if you're a cop,
You don't want to work in South.
you want to be a cop. So you don't. We made fun of the people who live over there. So, but
Golf courses.
because, but you got people. As you think, if you go to like Metro, North Tryon, some of these places, there's people that do 2 years, sometimes less, depending, and they end up on first shift, right? Because those guys are trying to get, they're going through the grind, and 2 years in Metro is 20 plus years in equivalent to in South Division, right? So they see more crime. So, but after a while, you start getting burnt out. And
what was your favorite shift?
So I worked before I came to Charlotte. I was at a department where we worked 12-hour shifts, and every 2 weeks we would rotate. So I worked 5 a.m. to 5 p.m. for 2 weeks, and then go from 5 p.m. to 5 a.m. 5 a.m. Yeah, so day and night, every 2 weeks. It was freaking horrible. And then the so when I came to Charlotte, I went to second shift, right? I went on second shift a few months, went to the FMT or whatever they called it back then, and worked like a 4-shift area, but day shift, night shift. They were all over the place. And then my favorite shift was a 4th shift. I don't know how I got away with this, but for 2 years when I was in Provost Division, I worked 4P to 2A, and I had permanent Thursday, Friday, Saturdays off for 2 years. So somehow, because we had you remember
There was
we had
a glitch in a matrix.
that 4th shift was like we had back then we had a 5th shift which was like 9 to 5, and then a 4th shift
Banker hours. Yeah.
So I came in right before traffic started, but it was a busy shift, right? Because you're working 4 p.m. to 2 a.m. But I had great days off, and it was a great shift. So I like working. I wouldn't have been happy on the first shift. I like working when the shift's happening. I want to be in the action. And now stuff's happening all the time, but you get the most action during those hours from second shift traditionally, each district, but from 1 to 11, 4 to 2 or something. That's when all the actions happen, all the violent crime.
Yeah. My favorite shift, well, the only shift I worked was third shift, night, Batman hours. For some reason, I thought I was Blade at night. I thought I can save the world while everybody sleep. I looked at Eastway as Gotham City, and I was the Dark Knight, and it was my time to just rain down on any type of criminal that I came across. I did my whole 10 years on night shifts. It was the best. I love it. It's nothing like it. The camaraderie on night shift, I don't care what you into. It's nothing sweeter than when you get into something and you ask for help and you hear them sirens. Like they coming.
And you get around a lot easier too, so you don't have to deal with the traffic.
Absolutely. Third shift was I loved it. It's nothing like it. The guys I fought with, bled with, sweat with, it was just nothing like it. And I just enjoyed it so much, man. Like I never wanted first shift, never wanted second shift. I never wanted any other shift. And leading into that, I got a question for Jay Bink. He said third shift, were you able to get a regular sleep schedule? No. People don't understand. I now understand one thing that one of my mentors told me, Matt Meskin, great shape. He told me you're going to realize how much good of a shape you need to be in to do third shift.
Oh yeah. And
I was like, why do I thought what? No, he was like specifically third shift. He was like, I can show you studies, I can show you numbers that naturally you are fighting against the body's clock to go to sleep at night. You don't know how much toll and angst and stress that's putting on your body. You need to be in shape. And you know what? When I went into the academy, when I came out of the academy, I was 235 pounds. By the time I retired, I was 305 pounds.
Yeah. So, and people don't talk about your first day off is shot because you're sleeping, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, and a lot of times if you're lucky enough, but normally during that, you're, you know, lot of times, depending what shift you are in what district, you might, in Charlotte, you can work an 8 or 10 hour shift. I like the 10 hour shifts because you get an extra day off in a week. But a lot of those times when you're off,
right.
What sucks is, you know, say you get off third shift at 6 and you have court at 9, you don't get to go home and take over. You have to get something to eat and wait around till 9, and then you might have a trial.
Oh.
And then that could be your first day off, or you're at court till 4 or 5 p.m. and then you got to do it again in a few hours. It's tough on the body. You definitely nailed that. And I actually I always forget because I wasn't there that long, but after I made my TikTok videos, they took me off over the street crimes and made me a third shift university sergeant. So that was the only time in my career that I was assigned a third shift, other than doing the rotating schedule, and it was tough. It destroys your body, and you're tired all the time, right? So by the third day you're off, if you're on a 10-hour schedule, you start feeling a little better, and then you're back to it. It was horrible.
Work.
Some people like it, like, you know,
it stinks, but I loved it. I loved it.
But it was tough, and I only had to do it I was maybe on third shift for like a month,
and I paid for it dearly. I'm not telling you I didn't pay for it. I'm at the same time, that's why something's wrong with me. At the same time, I'm telling you, I now have type 2 diabetes. I am major depressive bipolar diagnosed. I had hypertension, bad back. I have diabetic neuropathy in hands and feet. But I'm telling you, I love third shift. I love the grind.
Yeah, and think about how many, especially the back problems. How many of those issues you're having can you contribute to police work? Probably
a lot of them.
Yeah.
Wearing that when I went into the police department, I had back issues. So I mean, it just made it worse. Carrying around what? How much is it, Jay? About
35 pounds. Yeah. Because you got your taser. The taser, they have has two. I mean, it's huge. It's bigger than your firearm. You got your firearm. You got 2 mags. We got aspeton, which they don't have to wear anymore recently.
Wait a minute, they took that back?
Yeah,
because before it was your choice. So now they're saying it's either or. Again,
I'm sorry. You don't have to wear the aspeton. You have to have the taser. So they said you're good to keep in your car.
Okay.
But your aspeton, 2 pairs of cuffs, or I carry 2 pairs of cuffs.
I carry 2.
Yeah, because that's a bad scenario to be in. I've been there before. When I first got promoted, I'm like, I'm a sergeant now. Over patrol, I only need 1 pair. And within like a day, I go to something happens. I just roll up on it. There's 2 people, and it was a guy and a girl, and they were kind of getting mouthy and about to resist. So I told the girl to sit down and threw the dude in cuffs, and but I'm like, never again. So ever since then, I had another pair in my car, but I couldn't go back. So for like a few days, I had 1 pair, and I was like, I'm going to 2. If you're a good cop, you have 2 pairs of cuffs.
Mm-hmm. 2 cuffs. Now, were you hinge or chain?
I did the asp. I like the asp, lightweight, hinged.
Okay.
So
okay.
I like to get a hold of it.
Okay. I did 1 of each. So I don't know why I thought I was Billy Badass. I did 1 of each. I don't know why I thought that was cool, but I was weird like that.
You see the videos, and a lot of officers, they get 1 handcuff on, and they're struggling with them, trying to pull it. Just crank that thing down. If I got 1 handcuff on you, and I especially with the hinge, is just kind of crank put them lock. Oh, it was gold, man. I'm getting it, but.
You okay over there? Sound like you. Yeah, man. You listen. Listen, and that's what we do here, man. Sometimes you can see it in Sweat's eyes, man. He still think he out there, man. It's crazy, man. But um, and then also another question that people always ask is they be wanting to know why are police so um salty? Like why are police so salty? That's an open ended question. Yeah, many reasons why an officer can be. It can be personal. It can be organizational. It can be you got a Dallas Cowboys sticker on your tag, and the Eagles just lost to him. True story. And you're like,
Wonder who that was.
I don't know. I
Fan.
don't know who that guy was. All right, listen, I don't know who that guy was. But there's so many reasons to why um an officer may be salty, or you feel like an officer may be unprofessional with you that day, or just flat out wrong. And I would say this, like I tell everybody else: dead men tell no tales. Don't let anybody else tell your story. And I say that by why argue, fight, get into a scuffle, and possibly lose your life or get hurt and not be able to tell your story. Do your best to cooperate. Do what you have to do so you can get from in front of that officer, and then you report that officer. That goes into my next question where people say, how do you how can you report bad cops? How can you do that, Step?
So in here in Charlotte, you had a couple. You asked for a supervisor, or you could call internal affairs, and you could actually go online and do it. Some people would make complaints online, which I wasn't a fan about. And then someone would follow up with them. But now with body cameras, that as the complaints went down, most complaints on officers are found unfounded, right? So you have some that are out there doing like what was I get named? The guy's name right before switched over to Eastway that was assaulting women.
Oh, Marcus Jackson.
Yeah, so he got he was stopping cars and sexually assaulting women, and I mean it happens. But if you would have said hey, some guy in Eastway, if somebody would have pulled up to me, said, hey, some guy in Eastway just sexually assaulted me. Really, you're like, real, you don't want to believe it, but then that stuff happens. So there are bad cops out there, and like we talked about before, if you're a good cop, we don't want those bad cops on the street. So we encourage people.
Mm-mm.
As far as attitude, you don't know what the officer's dealing with. It could be family issues. He just witnessed went a dead kid or whatever. That's frustrated. And I remember getting frustrated one time. We had this lady killed. She I don't even remember. She went through the stop sign. Anyway, it was a stop sign involved, and somebody ran a stop sign, and somebody ended up dying. Right. So like the next day, I'm driving through the interstate. This guy just blows through the stop sign. I go through, and he's like, "Really, you waste my time for a stop sign?" And it really pissed me off because I'm like, "Really, I had to go tell this, the family members this person died because doing the exact same thing you did." And I just remember him getting pissed off at me, thinking I was wasting his time. But so I got a little frustrated. But you don't know the history. You don't know what's going on. And we're people, man. Cops are people, right? So I mean, just imagine if whatever I tell people all the time, if you're a cashier or whatever you do, if you work at a bank, and somebody comes up and everybody that comes up to you is just hostile, calling you names and dealing with, you have to deal with the problems and trying to hurt you in some instances, and the people you work for aren't supporting you. I mean, the politicians don't support you, and then it's frustrating. So you're gonna you carry that in the street sometimes. You just get some frustrated. You could have just got written up for something stupid, and you're frustrated. But just be cooperative, be nice, and if the officer does something wrong, report him after. Don't argue with him. You're not going to win. I mean, what are you going to do? You might feel better if you're going to get a ticket to what you call them on the street, run off at the mouth, but you're not going to win. It always pays to be cooperative and polite.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I couldn't have said it better myself. But I will say this: don't just report an officer and let it go. Follow up. Follow up. If you follow up and be like, hey, I put a complaint on this officer, Have you watched the video? Have you figured it out? Because I promise you, you never know how many times this officer has been complained on, how many times this officer has had issues, and it hasn't been addressed. So you have to follow up. And you know, you don't have to be, you could choose your own style. You want to be boisterous about it, you want to call, you want to use social media, you want to use whatever it is, do that. I'm all for holding police accountable. Jay, you are too. Nothing has changed.
No.
We're pro
And
police, we're behind the badge, but
I'm
yeah.
blue still at being retired. I love cops, but like you said, if you're a good cop, we expect to be held accountable. You know, and a lot of times, the complaints, the most common complaint would be he was nasty. What would he do? Well, he was just
He was nasty.
He was nasty. Well, he didn't say. He was just, hey, let me see your ID. He didn't ask any questions. He just asked for my ID and brought me a ticket and said, have a good day and leave. Like, so I'm like, well, you know, he didn't do anything wrong. He didn't have to be your friend.
You may not like his etiquette, his bedside manner, but he didn't do anything illegal against policy.
It's, you know, and the other people would say, well, you know, like he said, hey, what's up, man? You got your ID on you or something? They were offended, or because he said, what's up, man? But that's how I would stop.
It's ma'am.
Yeah, I'll be or man, you know, but I know he's that now. You get into the pronoun. That's weird. It's kind of weird. You go, sometimes you stop and you're like, well, do I call him ma'am or?
You know what I used to do? Call them whatever was on their ID, or if they corrected me, then I will call them whatever pronoun they wanted for the rest. And then some officers would be like, I don't understand why you calling that, because that's what they want. That's what they want to be called. And I need to do my job so I can get out of here. I'm not going to get in a pissing contest with somebody because they want me to respect what they want to be called. Just respect it, hone that, get it done. Like sometimes, and this is another thing what I found weird about police over the years is you get on these weird power trips and hills where you think that just because you wear a uniform, that's absolute. No. People don't have to. You can ask for an ID and somebody can say fuck off. Now what's your next move? Like, you still have to use this. Well, I'm not wearing a uniform, but the uniform is just a symbol of what you represent and what type of profession you are. The same thing as a bus driver, a cook, a firefighter, a chef, whatever it is. That uniform shows our occupation. It doesn't show who you are, what type of professional you are, what type of bedside manner you have. So you have to build that rapport. Don't think because you wear a uniform that's going to automatically give off respect and think you're going to get it, because that's not the case, especially now.
Oh yeah. Everybody is, I don't say, but a lot more people militant and question, and a lot of these newer people they're getting, they can't back it up, you know, and a lot of cops act, you know, what do we call it? I forgot what we call it, but you know, like just they hide behind the badge, and they
badass,
really bad, and you. There's some areas of town you better be able to back it up, right? So if you want to act like a badass, most people who act like a badass probably aren't a badass, right? So in my experience, but treat people with respect, and there's not time. I'm the guy having to be cool with you. You try to notch it up, you're not going to win. I'm going to, you know, if I walk up the car and I'm not playing games, you can do what I tell you to. I know you're respectful, but if you try to act stupid, bad things are going to happen, right? I know what I'm allowed to do and do my job. And so sometimes the best thing to do is, you know, you ignore them if they're just, you know, they're doing what, you know, hey, let me see your ID, man, dude, fucking cops, whatever, and let them vent. You know, they're doing what you tell them to. You know, so as long as somebody's cooperating, sometimes, you know, the 4 people in the car, they're running their mouth. Just call for. We're fortunate in Charlotte, in these bigger cities, you have backup. Some places don't. They're only officer working in town or something, but you have that option. And just I tell people all the time. I see a lot of officers get in trouble, get hurt because they go to the car. Say you go to the car and you smell weed, right? And there's 4 people in the car. They tell a person immediately, "I smell weed." Ignore it, right? Go to the
Mm-hmm.
car, keep eyes on them or whatever, or small talk them and get someone else around. Because as soon as you tell them you smell something, they know that search the car or whatever, and then you're by yourself and they're more likely to try you.
Mm-hmm. Or
That's a,
getting them all out by yourself. Like, what are you
don't do it.
doing?
Don't do it. And
What
never
are
you
you
don't see
doing?
search a car ever with somebody else in the car. Like I've seen people like search the front seat with their head with somebody in the back seat or vice versa. Time's on your side. Be safe. You use tactics. That's my little safety. But that was always my pet peeve.
Because it's just a different animal out there today. So you out here thinking you're super invincible. It's not gonna fly that well. But man, that went by pretty quick. Man, I mean that really went by really quick, and it was smooth and good questions, everybody. Thank everybody for the questions. Thank you everybody for joining us. I let's see. I have a special announcement, I guess. Today is my favorite aunt's birthday, Princess Watson. She is absolutely, I mean, you want to talk about a person you want to have in your corner. She's been in my corner since I can't even tell you when, through small teenage years, military, um, police, everything. I remember when my aunt would when I was in the military, and you would have to take these type of courses, and I just didn't want to take them. I just had a high school diploma. I was like, fine, whatever. I don't care, whatever the case may be. I don't care about it. And she could never get me to take any type of courses or to show any type of um guidance towards education or anything like that. And all my teachers would say, Blue, you're intelligent, you're smart. If you can harness some of that clown activity into your schooling, the sky's the limit. But I would go through these phases where I would be the best student I could be, then I would be the student that just, skate by or whatever the case may be. But I decided to take my education seriously when I got out of the military, and I was like, I need something else to throw on my resume to make me more attractive to other jobs and stuff like that. So I started taking, community college courses and stuff like that since 2008, and leading all the way up to I just got my master's degree last year. So I was sitting at home, and I was trying to figure out what else can I do. Like, I'm police was all I am. That was all I did, and I wanted to do something more. I wanted to impact. I wanted to reach somebody more. And I was sitting back, and I was just trying to rack my brain. I was just trying to figure out, Jay, you know how it is when you leave a job that you love and you used to doing something day in and day out, and now you're not doing that. We got the podcast, we're doing it. But I was like, I just want to do more. I just want to do more. So I was sitting back. So weird. I was watching Law and Order or whatever, and I was thinking about my wife, and I see the work my wife does. Like, she's a brilliant social worker. She's a licensed clinical therapist. So I was like, you know what? I want to be a social worker. I don't know if that was my bipolar cutting up or whatever it is. So, and my wife, she's trying to be supportive, but she's also trying to talk me through it and trying to be like, are you sure? Are you sure? So I'm like, yeah, I'm sure. So, I fill out master's application for to get my master's in social work, right? I go through it, get it done. I get accepted. I talk to an advisor, and advisor's like, she's like, if you think about it, I'm looking at your resume. You're going to do 3.5 years to get your master's degree in something that you've never experienced before, and you're going to have to do all these school, all these certificates and stuff like that. So she was like, "Did you ever think about doing something else, going higher, getting your doctorate and getting it, in something that you do?" I was like, "No, I never thought about that." I was like, "I don't want to do anything like that." So I sat back, and the more I thought about it, I was like, what could it hurt, right? I mean, I can, you know.
Dr.
So
Prince.
so I filled out for a couple of schools or whatever, and then Friday, I don't know why, but I didn't check my email. But then I got a phone call today that in January, I started January, I was accepted into the Doctorate of Criminal Justice program at a university, and I will be going for my doctorate's degree
Dr.
starting January 2022. And
That's very impressive. And that's the first I've heard of it.
right.
That
And I wanted to tell you so bad, but I wanted to tell everybody so I won't, I wanted, and I just want to say, you know what? I want to thank everybody for, because everybody has had a hand in this, and I brought up my aunt because she was the one that helped when I had to do my personal mission statement. She was the one that went over it, made sure I did everything correctly because she has a master's degree in English and counseling. So she red inked that thing, she fixed it for me. I sent it in, and think about it. This is a class of only 22 to 25. Think of how many resumes and
oh, just
everything
to get
come in.
selected. I mean, just to get selected for that's an honor, man. You know,
Right, right. And I
you must have
and
really
I'm
got the reference. They must have saw my name and they're like, well,
Yeah, well, I mentioned the podcast, and they must have went and listened to it, and they enjoyed it, or whatever the case may be. And I was selected, and I don't even. I'm excited. I'm anxious. Um, I don't know. I don't know what to expect, but that's maybe a good thing. I'm going to pick everybody's brain. Thank you to everybody that helped me out. I got one from Officer Finnis, Shannon Finnis with CMPD. She's been doing her doctorate program for a while. She's coming down the stretch. I leaned on her a lot. I reached out to a former one of my professors during my undergrad was a former CMPD homicide detective, and now is a doc and was a doctor. I also reached out to another person that used to work at CMPD in their forensics, uh, in a CSI department. They're now a doctorate. They're now a doctor. So
you know,
thank you, everybody.
Lieutenant
Huh?
Noel. Lieutenant Noel, he's a professor now. He's retired, but he's got his, of course, he's got his doctorate. I think he's in Rowan, or I forget which college he's at, but he's a good guy to touch base with. But how many credit hours is that? Is that how they do that, or when you get
It'll
other?
be three. If I go straight through, like don't take any breaks, it's supposed to be 3.5 to 4 years. The last year and a half to 2 years is going to be totally based on my dissertation, which is going to be a monster.
That's
So
amazing.
for next 3.5 years, if y'all see me, ragged, or y'all see me all over the place, just check on me. Hashtag buddy check. Just know that I'm grinding, and I'm trying to make sure that our
You,
voices our voice is heard, and we're doing a lot within the criminal justice community, and we're making a difference. So there it is. There was my special announcement. Mm.
that's impressive. I'm proud of you, man, and I know you do well. And just remember, you got to keep the word. You know, you don't come back, man, from the when you learn all these big words. We won't know what you're talking about. You got to
First of all, I'm still going to use
vaccinated and all that. You know, I don't know, man.
You use bigger words than me, man. Like your words be tongue twisting and everything.
I never pronounced them correctly though.
Yo, it's okay. But man, thank you everybody. Of course, I'm at Real Prince Blue on Twitter and everything else. He Step 2223 on Instagram. Tog TOG 4280 on TikTok. And man, thank you guys for continuing to support us. And as you can see, me or Steph, we're not resting on our laurels. We're not just thinking we're going to get up here and just be talking and trying to change anything. We're trying to actually make sure we have some credibility behind us, and we're trying to make sure that we give you up-to-date information, up-to-date analysis, and we're not going to stop. We're going to make sure we're heard. We're going to make sure you're heard, and we're going to continue to soldier on. The Black and Blue Live show, it's not going anywhere. So,
and did you notice our Facebook? If you have friends on Facebook, I don't know how to invite them on Instagram, but on Facebook, we've got a couple. I think we got 200-300 new followers this week, which is nice.
Right.
And
yeah.
a lot of
please share the page.
Yeah, they watch the repeat for obvious reasons, work or family. But make sure you're sharing the page with people and invite them to like it. It means a lot. So, and thank you for the people who are on here asking questions. And congratulations again to the future Dr. Blue.
Yes. Yes. I don't even want to think about it right now. Right now, I want to have fun up until January.
I want to be. I'll call you Doctor.
No. There's only one doctor. His name is Julius Irvin. But thank you everybody for joining us. Please make sure, as always, you check on somebody, and remember,
and Angelia, make sure Angela. See,
yes.
Make sure you get up with us because we want to do something with it's very the medic's perspective and stuff. So you work some legit areas, and you got a really tough job. So maybe reach out to us and get your perspective. So get you on
definitely. And remember, we love y'all. We out, y'all. We gone. We it's nothing else we got to do. We gone. See ya.
Yeah. Look, Black and Blue Live.